Wealth is attracted to clarity, focus, and consistency. Confuse your direction, and it will slip through your fingers like sand. This is a truth that has echoed through the lives of every person who has ever found financial success. Think about it. How often have you seen people chasing after every new shiny idea, jumping from one opportunity to another without a clear plan, only to end up exhausted and empty-handed? That's because without clarity, without focus, wealth becomes like water trying to be held in a sieve. It simply escapes. It's not enough to want wealth or to hope for it. You must be precise about your goals. What does financial success look like for you? How much do you want, and by when? Without clear answers to these questions, your efforts scatter, your energy diffuses, and your results will follow suit. Now, once you have clarity, you must sharpen your focus. In a world full of distractions from social media to endless opportunities, your ability to say no is just as important as your ability to say yes. Saying no to what doesn't serve your financial vision isn't a loss. It's a gain. It's protecting your most valuable asset, your time and attention. The people who build lasting wealth don't let themselves be swayed by every passing trend or impulse. They build habits that align with their goals and stick to them day in and day out. This is where consistency enters the picture. It's not the big dramatic effort once in a while that builds wealth. It's the small, disciplined actions taken consistently over time. Invest in yourself relentlessly. Your skills, your character, your time, and the marketplace will reward you generously. This is the cornerstone of true financial success. No matter what your background, your education, or your current situation, you hold the power to grow. The question is, are you willing to pay the price? That price is effort. It's waking up early to learn, to read, to sharpen your skills. It's developing your character by doing what's right even when no one is watching. It's managing your time wisely, prioritizing activities that bring you closer to your goals. When you invest in yourself, you don't just add value, you multiply it. You become someone the marketplace respects, trusts, and wants to pay. Remember, money flows to those who become valuable. Your income is not determined by the hours you work, but by the value you bring. The more you improve your knowledge, your skills, and your mindset, the more opportunities open up. So don't just wish for financial success. Design it, pursue it, and build it with unshakable discipline. Let clarity guide your path. Let focus sharpen your steps, and let consistency carry you forward. The journey won't always be easy, but it will be worth it. And the wealth you build will not just be numbers in a bank account, it will be the freedom to live life on your own terms. If you want to win in wealth, start by working in silence. Build your discipline quietly, persistently, and patiently. The world doesn't need to see your struggle, but it will witness your success. And when that day comes, it will be undeniable. When it comes to building financial success, the very first step is to know exactly where your money is going. I want you to imagine this. Money is like water flowing through your hands. If you don't pay attention, it just slips away, unnoticed until you're left wondering where it all went. The discipline to track every dollar you spend, without exception, is what turns that careless flow into a purposeful stream. It's not just about counting pennies, it's about cultivating awareness. When you take the time to write down every expense daily, something powerful happens. You begin to understand your habits. This is the moment control begins. I remember early in my journey, I thought I had a grip on my finances. But once I started tracking every single expense, from the big payments to the small cups of coffee, I was shocked. Those small, unnoticed costs added up to a significant portion of my spending. The clarity this brought was eye-opening. It gave me the ability to make informed choices rather than letting money slip away without thought. The simple act of writing things down built a kind of discipline that spilled over into other areas of my life. This practice creates a framework for change. When you see exactly where your money goes, you can spot patterns that are working for you and those that are holding you back. Maybe you find that eating out every day costs more than you thought, or perhaps unnecessary subscriptions are draining your account. Without this clarity, it's impossible to improve. But with it, you're empowered. You can stop wasting, and start saving, redirecting funds towards investments in yourself or your future. This is how financial success begins, not with sudden windfalls, but with steady, conscious management. In this way, tracking expenses daily builds discipline, but it also teaches patience and mindfulness. The true power lies in consistency. Don't underestimate the small daily actions. It's these tiny habits that compound over time into big results. You're not just managing money, you're training yourself to be responsible and intentional. This mindset will serve you far beyond the numbers on a page. It shapes character, strengthens willpower, and plants the seeds for lasting wealth. So begin today, and remember, you can't manage what you don't measure. This simple habit of tracking every dollar is your foundation for financial freedom. One of the most powerful shifts you can make in your financial life is to automate your savings. It sounds simple, but this one change creates a momentum that transforms your relationship with money. Think of it like planting a seed. You don't have to water it every hour, but you do have to make sure it's planted consistently. Automating your savings means you set up a system where a fixed percentage of your income moves directly into a savings or investment account the moment your paycheck arrives. You pay yourself first, before any bills, before any spending, and before you even think about what's left over. The wisdom here is that saving shouldn't be an afterthought, something you do if there's money left. Too often people wait until the end of the month and find there's nothing left to save. But when you make it automatic and non-negotiable, you remove the temptation to spend what should be saved. You turn saving into a disciplinia habit that happens without struggle or debate. This creates a powerful force that works for you in the background, growing steadily over time. I remember when I first started this habit. It was like paying myself was a bill that couldn't be missed. The rest of the expenses had to adjust to what was left. That mindset shift alone changed how I approached money. Suddenly my priorities became clearer. Instead of trying to save what was left, I made saving the priority. This small but deliberate act created a buffer for the future, whether for emergencies, investments, or opportunities that required capital. Automating your savings is also about taking control over your financial destiny. You don't have to rely on willpower or motivation, which can fluctuate. Instead, you rely on a system designed to build your wealth steadily and consistently. This is the essence of discipline, setting up your environment so success becomes the natural outcome. Over time, that automatic saving grows into a sizable fund, allowing you to take advantage of investments or weather unexpected challenges without panic. The lesson is clear. Make saving non-negotiable. Pay yourself first every payday, even if it's a small amount to start. Consistency will compound, and before you know it, your savings will be working as hard as you do. This simple, automated action is a cornerstone for building unshakable financial success. Setting clear, measurable financial goals is one of the most effective ways to transform your dreams into reality. Too often, people wander through their financial lives without a definite destination, hoping that somehow things will improve. But hope alone is not a strategy. When you write down a specific target, say, saving $5,000 in 12 months or paying off a credit card in 6 months, you create a clear vision that your mind can grasp and work toward. This clarity ignites focus and discipline, turning vague wishes into actionable plans. I've learned that goals are like roadmaps. Without a destination, you'll find yourself wandering aimlessly, wasting time and energy. But once you have a clear goal, you can break it down into manageable chunks. For example, saving $5,000 in a year sounds big, but when you break it down, it becomes around $417 a month, about $100 a week, or roughly $15 a day. These smaller daily or weekly targets are easier to manage and track. Each time you hit these smaller milestones, you build momentum, confidence, and a sense of accomplishment that fuels further progress. It's important to make your goals measurable and time-bound. Saying, I want to save money is too vague. Saying, I want to save $5,000 in 12 months gives you a deadline and a number to focus on. It helps you make daily decisions. Should I skip this coffee? Can I cut back on dining out this week? The specificity sharpens your awareness and helps you resist distractions that pull you away from your goal. I remember a time when I set a goal to clear a significant debt. I wrote it down, created a payment plan, and committed to paying an exact amount every week. It wasn't easy, but having that measurable goal kept me on track. When progress slowed, I could look at the numbers and adjust. When progress accelerated, I felt motivated to push even harder. That clear measurement turned what felt overwhelming into something achievable. Your financial goals don't have to be grand, but they must be clear and specific. Write them down, break them into daily, weekly, and monthly actions. Review your progress regularly. This simple discipline keeps your focus sharp, your motivation alive, and your path toward financial success unmistakable. The clearer your goals, the stronger your grip on your financial future. Creating a budget and sticking to it is one of the most practical ways to take control of your financial future. Think of your budget as a map, for your money a guide that directs every dollar toward a specific purpose rather than letting it wander aimlessly. Without this plan, it's easy to fall into the trap of spending impulsively, chasing temporary pleasures that leave you empty-handed when the bills come due. Discipline means knowing exactly where your money goes and deciding in advance how much you will allocate for essentials, savings, and investments. When I first started managing my finances seriously, I realized that living within my means wasn't just about cutting back. It was about making intentional choices. Budgeting forces you to prioritize what truly matters. It asks you to decide before the month begins how much will go toward food, housing, transportation, and what percentage you'll set aside for your future. This act of planning is an exercise in self-respect, honoring your commitments to yourself and your goals. Many people think budgeting is restrictive or boring, but it's actually liberating. It gives you the freedom to spend without guilt, knowing that your essentials are covered, your savings are growing, and your investments are moving you forward. Without a budget, you might find yourself reacting to every urge or offer, which often leads to chaos and financial stress. But with a budget, you become the driver, not the passenger, in your financial journey. I remember working with young entrepreneurs who struggled with inconsistent income. The key wasn't just making more money, it was learning to plan that money wisely. They began by writing down their expenses and income, then creating a budget that accounted for lean months and flush months alike. That discipline to live within their means, especially when the money was tight, set the foundation for long-term success. They stopped wondering where their money went and started directing it where it was needed most. Building a budget isn't a one-time event, it's a habit. Review it regularly and adjust as life changes, but never abandon it. The discipline of sticking to a budget trains your mind to think in terms of priorities and long-term benefits, rather than short-term satisfaction. When you live within your means, you build stability. When you allocate money for saving and investing, you build wealth. That's how discipline becomes the engine that drives your financial success. Remember, your budget is your promise to yourself, a promise of control, purpose, and progress. Honor that promise every day. Learning to say no to instant gratification is one of the most powerful lessons on the path to financial success. We live in a world designed to tempt us constantly bright advertisements, flashy sales, and the endless pull of right-now pleasure. But every time you give in to that urge without thinking, you chip away at your future. The question you must train yourself to ask before every purchase is simple yet profound. Is this necessary, or is it just a distraction from my goals? I've seen it countless times in my own life and in those I've mentored. People chase the quick thrill of buying something new, only to find themselves trapped in a cycle of wanting more, never feeling truly satisfied. This hunger for instant gratification blinds them to the bigger picture, the life they could build if they held back just a little longer and said no to what isn't essential. Financial success doesn't come from spending. It comes from saving, investing, and directing your resources with intention. Mastering this habit requires self-awareness and discipline. It means pausing at that moment of temptation and reminding yourself of your bigger purpose. When you resist the impulse to buy something just because it feels good now, you're not denying yourself. You're affirming your commitment to a better future. It's a small moment of victory that builds character and confidence. In my own journey, I've learned that every no to an unnecessary expense is actually a yes to something greater, a vacation paid in cash, a down payment on a home, a growing investment portfolio. I've worked with countless individuals who transformed their financial lives simply by becoming more conscious of their spending habits and learning to delay gratification. They found that saying no didn't feel like deprivation, it felt like empowerment. It's not about never enjoying life or indulging yourself. It's about choosing wisely and living with purpose. The rich don't avoid pleasure, they just don't let fleeting desires dictate their decisions. They understand that true wealth is built by those who can see beyond the moment and focus on long-term rewards. So next time you feel that urge to spend impulsively, pause and reflect. Ask yourself if this purchase aligns with your goals or if it's just a distraction. Remember, every time you say no to instant gratification, you're saying yes to your financial freedom and your future. The discipline you build here will carry you far beyond any temporary pleasure. Investing in your financial education is one of the smartest decisions you can make on your journey to lasting wealth. Just like money, knowledge compounds over time, growing quietly but powerfully to shape your future. I've often found that the people who succeed financially aren't necessarily the ones who start with the most money, but those who commit to learning every single day. It's not about a single burst of effort, but about consistent daily improvement that builds a foundation no one can take away from you. When I reflect on my own experience, I realize that the hours I devoted to reading books, listening to lessons, and absorbing ideas about money and success have paid off exponentially. These small investments of time, just 15 minutes a day, have compounded into wisdom, clarity, and smarter decisions. The financial world is always changing, and staying informed helps you adapt and spot opportunities others miss. Committing to daily learning is also about discipline. Life is busy, distractions are everywhere, and it's easy to put off education for later. But there is no better time than now. Imagine what happens when you invest just a quarter of an hour each day for a year. That's nearly 100 hours of focused learning enough to read several important books, master new skills, or deepen your understanding of investments and money management. This daily habit builds confidence, sharpens your decision-making, and protects you from costly mistakes. I encourage you to seek out trusted sources books that have stood the test of time, podcasts by credible experts, or articles that challenge your thinking and expand your perspective. The goal isn't to become overwhelmed with information, but to integrate what you learn into your financial life step by step. Knowledge alone isn't power until it's put into action. I remember early in my career, I made decisions based on guesswork or emotion. It was the steady growth in my financial education that transformed those guesses into calculated moves. Learning gave me tools to evaluate risks, understand markets, and manage money wisely. It also instilled a mindset that views challenges as lessons and setbacks as opportunities. So make this commitment today. Invest in your financial education daily. Feed your mind with ideas that build your wealth and your character. Like planting seeds that will grow into a strong, fruitful tree, these minutes of learning will create a harvest of financial success that lasts a lifetime. Next, build multiple streams of income. It's a necessity for anyone serious about financial freedom. Relying on a single paycheck is like walking a tightrope without a safety net. One misstep, one unexpected change, and everything can come crashing down. The key is to discipline yourself, to develop additional sources of income step by step, systematically, with patience and persistence. When I began my journey, I understood that financial security wasn't about luck or a sudden windfall. It was about creating a foundation solid enough to weather storms and flexible enough to grow with opportunity. That meant going beyond my day job and exploring side hustles, small investments, and passive income streams. I didn't jump into everything at once. I started with one idea, put in the work, learned the lessons, then moved to the next. This methodical approach prevents overwhelm and builds confidence. The beauty of multiple income streams is that they create leverage. While one income requires your direct time and effort, others can continue earning for you even when you're not actively working. Imagine building rental properties, earning dividends from stocks, or running a business that can operate without you present every hour. These streams grow your wealth quietly and when combined, they become powerful enough to transform your life. Discipline is critical here because it takes effort to manage multiple ventures without losing focus. You must set clear priorities, organize your time, and continuously evaluate what's working. Not every opportunity will be a winner, and that's part of the process. The important part is to keep moving, keep learning, and keep expanding your earning capacity. The mindset of how can I multiply my income rather than how hard can I work is what separates the financially free from those stuck in survival mode. From my own life, I recall the days when I was focused solely on one income source and the worry that came with it. Then, as I disciplined myself to create and nurture new streams, I felt a sense of freedom I hadn't known before. Each new stream was a building block, a step toward independence, a cushion against uncertainty. So, don't wait for the perfect moment or the perfect idea. Start now with what you have, wherever you are. Build one income stream, master it, then add another. This steady, disciplined approach will multiply your earning potential and build the financial security that so many dream of but few achieve. The power to change your life lies in your willingness to multiply, to diversify, and to persist. Discipline isn't a one-time effort. It's a continuous journey that demands regular attention and adjustment. When it comes to your finances, the plan you set at the beginning isn't meant to be rigid or forgotten on a shelf. Instead, it requires a monthly review, deliberate pause to examine where you stand, what's working, and what needs to change. In my early days, I learned that without consistent reflection, even the best intentions can drift off course. Life changes, unexpected expenses arise, income fluctuates, and goals evolve. If you don't take the time to review your financial plan each month, you risk losing sight of your objectives and allowing bad habits or distractions to creep back in. Take control by setting a recurring appointment with yourself. Look at your budget closely. Are your spending habits aligned with your goals? Did you save the amount you planned? Where did you overspend? Are your investments performing as expected? This review isn't about judgment or frustration. It's about honest assessment and course correction. Remember, discipline grows stronger when it's purposeful. Each month's review offers an opportunity to celebrate small wins and reinforce the habits that work, while identifying the weak spots that need tightening. Maybe you realize you're spending too much on dining out, or perhaps you discover you haven't set aside enough for savings. Whatever it is, take action. Adjust your budget, tweak your goals, and recommit to the process. From personal experience, I recall months when I felt discouraged because progress was slower than hoped. But by reviewing my finances regularly, I could identify exactly where I was falling short and then take targeted steps to improve. This steady adjustment turned frustration into momentum, turning small, consistent improvements into lasting success. So, don't let your financial discipline be a set-and-forget effort. Make the monthly review a ritual and essential part of your financial routine. This simple habit keeps you accountable, sharpens your focus, and ensures your financial plan evolves with your life. Success is not about perfection, but about persistent progress, and that progress is built one month at a time. Next, debt is a powerful force. It can either be a tool that builds your future or a burden that drags you down. The difference lies in how you manage it. I've seen many people trapped by debt simply because they treated it like a passive obligation, paying the minimum amount each month and hoping it would eventually disappear. But minimum payments are a trap. They keep you chained longer and cost you far more in interest than you realize. The moment you decide to take control of your debt is the moment you reclaim your financial freedom. It starts with a clear plan list all your debts, focusing on those with the highest interest rates first. These are the debts that silently eat away at your money every month, and paying them off faster will save you thousands in the long run. Discipline yourself to pay more than the minimum each month. Even a small additional amount can drastically shorten your repayment period and reduce the interest you pay. I recall early in my journey when I was overwhelmed with credit card balances and loans. At first, I just made the minimum payments, feeling like I was doing the right thing. But the debt seemed endless. When I shifted my mindset and committed to paying an extra $50 or $100 each month on the highest interest card, everything changed. It was as if I had broken the chains, gaining momentum and hope. That extra effort didn't feel like deprivation, it felt like freedom building. This isn't about sudden sacrifice, it's about strategic discipline. It might mean cutting back on small luxuries temporarily or finding ways to increase your income so you can allocate more towards debt. But the payoff is immense. The sooner you clear your debts, the sooner you redirect your money towards building wealth, savings, and investments. Control over your debt means control over your life. Don't let interest payments rob you of your future. Take responsibility, create a plan, and commit to paying more than the minimum each month. It's the disciplined, consistent action that accelerates your path to financial independence. Remember, freedom isn't just about how much you earn. It's about how wisely you manage what you owe. No man is an island, and this truth holds especially true when it comes to building financial success. You might have the best plans, the strongest will, and the clearest goals, but without support, it's easy to drift off course. That's why surrounding yourself with accountability and mentorship is not just helpful, it's essential. I've learned this firsthand. Early in my life, I struggled to maintain discipline until I found mentors who challenged me and a community that shared my vision. Their guidance and presence made all the difference. When you share your financial goals with someone you trust, you invite responsibility into your journey. It's no longer just a private ambition, it becomes a commitment you vocalized, and that changes your behavior. The knowledge that someone else is watching, encouraging, or even questioning your progress creates a powerful motivation to stay disciplined. It's like having a personal coach who won't let you give up when things get tough. Mentorship adds a different dimension. A mentor offers wisdom born of experiences, shortcuts learned from mistakes, principles tested over time, and encouragement to keep moving forward when your own energy wanes. I've seen people try to navigate the financial world alone, making avoidable errors and wasting precious time. But those who seek guidance accelerate their progress. They borrow strength, knowledge, and sometimes connections from those who have walked the path before them. Communities centered around wealth building are equally important. They provide an environment where your ambitions are understood and celebrated, not questioned or dismissed. They become sounding boards for ideas, places to share wins and setbacks, and forums for ongoing learning. Discipline thrives in such environments because you're constantly reminded of your purpose and surrounded by those who hold you accountable. If you want to build unshakable self-discipline for financial success, don't go it alone. Find a mentor who inspires you, share your goals openly, and join a community that lifts you up. Accountability turns vague intentions into concrete actions, and mentorship provides the roadmap to navigate challenges. Remember, wealth is not just about money, it's about the people who help you become the person who can earn, manage, and grow it wisely.